Oh, hey everybody, how you doing? Well, it's Michael from Bay Area Hiking Guides, if you're not familiar with who I am. And this video, we're going to be talking about the California scrub jay, a real fascinating species we have here in the Bay Area. This is going to be mind-blowing for some of you. All right, stay tuned. Hey everybody, so it's Michael from Bay Area Hiking Guides, giving the information, that knowledge to go out there and hike with confidence. So yeah, if you're new to the video, welcome. You know, you guys are always welcome to hit that like down below and hit the subscribe if you want to know more about what's going on. And then of course the bell. So I'm going to talk about a particular species we have here in the Bay Area, the oak woodlands we've got going on here. Some beautiful, beautiful stuff coming up right now. It's just amazing to watch this quick transition. Spring is just right here. I was in Death Valley for about 4 days, supposed to be 5, but we hit a dust storm and a minor sandstorm. Death Valley, who wants to know about 70-mile-an-hour winds and donkeys on corners of roads? Stuff I put myself through. Came back here and just within, just a few days of what is seeing a bunch of blossoms and stuff. It's just remarkable. The California scrub jay. Now, a lot of people kind of consider them to be super bullies or these meanies, hanging out and asking for everybody's lunch money. But that's really not what's going on here. I mean, you can kind of look at it that way and say, yeah, they're territorial, and there's times that they'll kind of bully around a little bit, and they might rob from the occasional acorn woodpecker. They're just using their intelligence. California scrub jays is in a category all by itself with a bunch of other real intelligent birds. We call the corvid. That's C-O-R-V-I-D-E-A, if I'm spelling that correctly. I'm sure somebody will correct me if not. And that's a real intelligent bird category. Those guys are pretty smart. And that goes up there with the magpie, crows, the ravens, and then the jays, the scrub jays, the stellar jays, and the blue jays. Now, a lot of people actually call the birds that we have there, the California scrub jays, blue jays. They're not blue jays. That's an eastern bird, okay? That's not, east. That away. The California scrub jay does not migrate. It hangs out within the same area. But there's also the stellar jay, which has got that mohawk thing going on. It's a blacker head, and that's another bird by itself as well. Also, common names are quite dangerous. A lot of people tend to use common names and they mislead them, and then, it's so easy. There could be one plant or animal and there'll be like 7 or 8 different common names, or somebody will say a new one, and then it just can, spreads like wildflower, like a rumor, and it can be dangerous at times. So the California scrub jay, really, now. So go 1 Alpha 2 48-3, stationed up on the rim. I'm waiting your side. To get real technical, you can call it the scientific name, Ecological californica, if I pronounce it correctly. I just say California scrub jay because not everybody talks in scientific terminology. But I tell you, it's pretty good with the ladies. You use scientific terminology, with plants and animals and stuff like that at a party, you'll turn heads. Just say one little thing, and people will be like, whoa! Just don't use sequoia. A lot of people know what that means. So, common names they can mix around. I was in a Zoom meeting one time, and we were talking about a particular plant, and someone used one common name, and then the other person used another common name for the same plant. And someone's like, no, they're not called that, they're called this. And it's like, come on here, guys. I mean, it's a common name, okay? The scientific names, when they give them to plants and animals, they don't change that often. It's a long process. It takes a lot of talking and conversation and coffee and donuts and all that other stuff. Mini meetings, kind of like us waiting for the stimulus check. But it's actually a little longer than that. So it usually changes because scientific mishap that happened 100 years ago, that they put it in the wrong category or family, and they have to change things around. But they rarely ever do change. For common names, someone's coming up with a new common name for something all the time. So the corvid family, C-O-R-V-I-D, AE, is a pretty smart family. So they have lifelong partners. She selects the partner who she wants, and he'll go out and find food, make the nest, And this continues on not only through, the fall and what have you, because most of the acorns that they receive are going to be generally in the fall, and then that'll kind of go into, all through the winter, and then kind of dwindle in the beginning of spring. And then they have to rely on eating other things like insects and stuff like that to help the oaks not get too attacked by all the insects and what have you. So they help with eating that. But that pretty much goes on for a while. Now, they bury their acorns. So the male will bury the acorn in various locations. And the amount of acorns that they bury is huge. I can't remember the actual number, but it's massive. Maybe I can find it. No, I don't have a memory like a California scrub jay. They bury them, and the funny thing is they remember where they buried them. And it's not just, one or two, like, hey, my secret treasure chest stash is stashed just beyond the second oak to the left of Mandy's house. No, this is like some serious stuff, because the amount of acorns that they're burying, and they remember it all by landmark. Whoa! My gosh, and the amount that they remember, is huge. They collect a ton, and they remember they're pretty accurate with what they remember. Now, with the ones that they don't remember, I'll get to that in a minute, but let's continue on with this whole marriage thing. So there's a ritual marriage dance that they perform, and they do, when they've kind of got their own dance, and then they also sing to each other. Now, a lot of people refer to the California scrub jay to have a really bad voice, and no one wants to hear the thing cacking off all the time. But they actually have a pretty cool way of expressing the love to each other, I guess. And then also they have several calls. So those louder calls, those are typically, because they have lots of different calls, I'm far away from you, letting you know I'm here. And then the softer ones are closer, I'm nearby. So they're consistently back and forth talking with each other. Cool. And then if she feels at any given time, listen up, ladies. So if she feels at any given time that she's had enough, and that's the end of that, they just divorce. Goodbye. Now, there's not a lawyer involved or anything of that nature like we would have, for us. But she goes off and finds another mate, and, I don't know if, some stud on matchmaker.com. But she goes out and finds another mate, and then the other guys, has to hope for the best. I think there was more into it in one of the books that I read about it, but I didn't want to get too much into it. But you guys are more than welcome to explore. Leave feedback or tell me other things that you've learned. There was an interesting fact that I got, that the divorce rate for California scrub jays is 11.2. So the divorce rate for California scrub jays is 11.2 per year. Wow. What's ours? Don't ask. I don't even want to look that up. I just don't. I don't want to look it up. I'm still married to my wife. I know a lot of people that are still married to their wives. I don't know why some of our younger men are having some difficulty with that. It's called loyalty and listening. So you rarely ever see their nest. It's not something that most people get to typically see. And how they get to their nest is a whole illusion. Swoop down and go through the trees in a way where you might see them, and then they just fade out and disappear, and then they go from the other side. It's really remarkable. So I believe that scrub jays are a major cause to the oaks here in California. I believe that they are responsible for a lot of the oaks we have here. As they deliver the acorns, they bury the acorns. So they're burying them constantly. And they bury them by using landmarks and light spots to remember where those acorns are buried. Pretty fascinating stuff. And I believe, because the ones that they don't gather, although they do gather most of the acorns they remember, the ability to remember where they buried a lot of these acorns is pretty remarkable. But I feel that they bury these acorns, because they bury these acorns, and the ones that they bury them, it's a better success for germinating and creating newer oaks. With the squirrels and the acorn woodpecker, where they're just pecking the acorns inside of the trees, you're not, the success rate there for germination is a lot lower. So that's why oaks tend to be, it's like you can reason with this, is because oaks are, up on the ridges and stuff. Well, how the heck that happened? Where versus if it was not the case, oaks would be rolling down their acorns and they would be going into a valley or a creek bed nearby. So you'd be having that issue there, but you're not having that issue. The oaks are spreading out constantly, so they're delivering these acorns for the oaks. It's an awesome relationship, and it's a great bird to choose to help deliver acorns. So some people don't believe this, but it's still out there. There's still a lot of research going on, but a lot of biologists and stuff believe that the jays in general are big responsibility with a lot of the oaks we have here, and me included. Because when you see the world map and where all the oaks are, jays tend to be, different types of jays tend to be around those oaks. They kind of shifted together, so how that happened. See, they bury them, and the cool thing is that they know they're being watched. They'll bury them, and they'll put them down somewhere. And if they're being watched, they'll put a rock in there instead of an acorn, and then go deliver it somewhere else if they feel they're being watched. That's pretty cool stuff. But if the acorn stays there, it's got a more successful germinate. It's going to successfully germinate a lot better. So that's pretty cool. It's pretty remarkable. And then when they get the acorn, they'll pick it up and they'll kind of go off. They'll base it off the weight. If it's lighter, they know some other insect or something inside is eating at it, so it's going to be lighter versus heavier. And they know that. They detect that. They go, okay, yeah, this is a good acorn. They can remember up to 250 days in the year. 250 days in the year. Just incredible stuff. 250. I got a hard time just remembering a minute, let alone 250 days in the year. What did I have for dinner last night? So I did an experiment with the corvid family and using canisters. They took these canisters and they used them to understand, experiments. They took a little worm, and the California scrub jay was in the runner-up. California scrub jay was there, and they took the worm and they put it in the canister. They filled it up with water, and what they would do, not only the crows and the ravens were doing this as well, but also the California scrub jay, they come by, and this canister had water in it. They filled it up with a worm, and they couldn't get to it, so they come by and they drop heavy pebbles in there, and then it would bring it down, fill it up with water, raise the worm to the surface, whammo. And then they also took a tool, little piece of metal. I can't remember if it was a paper clip or something along those lines. And they took that, a tool that they've never seen before, and they took that and they bent it and used it to get something out of the tree, or a little piece of wood that they were trying to work with. Just remarkable. I mean, that's just stuff that's mind-blowing. So they have the capability of theory of mind, and they have the capability of mental travel. A lot of people feel that animals cannot think futuristically or in the past. They're always in the present. Well, that's a load of hocus pocus. The California scrub jays right there and then will prove you wrong. They can think. They can kind of have this mental time travel that they go through in their heads. And the theory of mind, mental time, and they mentally time travel, and they go back to the past of what had happened, what they want to project within the future, and they use that to go back into the present. This is all in their mind. To go back into the present to successfully do what they need to do to, gather acorns or, make it successfully through the season. That's pretty remarkable stuff. So let's say, for example, if they put a cricket or an insect or something and they gather that and they bury it or they put it to some location, they're going to know that over the course of time as well that, the cricket decays in 3 days, and they're not going to do that again. So they not only learn from their mistakes, but they also do this mental time travel thing, which is really remarkable. I really like that. So if a dead jay dies, they do a whole crime scene. That's a whole operation. But if a dead jay is dead on the trail, they will make out a call. They'll send that call out, and within seconds, other jays will show up. This will go on for 30 minutes until they're able to get all the jays that they can to gather near this dead jay. And it could have been disease, it could have been death from another animal. And if they're not able to do that, they'll go straight up and they'll send out this call loud enough to bring all the other jays around. And they can be a bit aggressive with each other, like, hey, you stole my acorn. But they will actually do some really cool stuff, and what they'll do is they'll stop that for about 24 hours. So no one's going to have any, aggression behavior. Also, from what I understand, and then they'll also not collect any acorns in the vicinity of that area, no matter how tempting they might be. And that's really cool. It's kind of like a respect thing. And then they kind of do this ritual dance, and they also do the investigation. They investigate the crimes. It's important to understand how important they are to us as a species, because they play a big role. And there is robbing going on. They do rob from the woodpeckers, the acorn woodpeckers. They will rob from them. They stash their acorns, and they do stuff like that. But they play such a major role to the success with the oaks. And when we get these massive heat waves, it doesn't help their reproducing more California scrub jays. It don't help much. So it's really, really cool. It's really, really important to understand that us as a society, to better understand the scrub jays, to better understand who they are, and appreciate them. Because honestly, you really think about it, I mean, are we really the smartest thing on earth? Or is there something we really don't know about? All right, guys, have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for checking out the channel. I love you much. I'm glad I got out of that crazy dust storm, mini sandstorm situation, and I'm back here making videos. I appreciate all your time. I don't put out that many videos with work and everything, but I thought this was a really good one. I got so many other videos to do, so I can't wait to talk about them. Also, I know Tyler's mentioned this lady before. She is Marion Child, Kate Marion Child, if I'm pronouncing her name right. Kate Marion Child is amazing. The Secret of Oak Woodland. She is an incredible lady. I was in a Zoom meeting with her in there, kind of like a fly on the wall, but I was there listening to her just wisdom roll off just so beautifully. But love it. This is the book I get a lot of my stuff from. I also check out from other areas, but this is an awesome read for you people that like to read. Check it out. I'm getting surrounded by cows here. Operation Covert. Check it out. Definitely an awesome read. I really, really highly recommend it. And yeah, so any of you guys out there, maybe you should put away the Tom Clancy books and maybe dig into some of this awesome wisdom knowledge here by Kate. I mean, I certainly am loving it. I'm starting to highlight and stuff. And if you get it from her website directly instead of going through Amazon, she'll sign it for you. It doesn't say, Michael, you're really cool, and I love your long hair. But how do you like my hair? Who wants me to cut it off? Not happening. No, but seriously, people ask me like, oh, how long are you going to grow your hair? Well, now that you said that, I'm going to grow it even more. I keep getting weird looks maybe at Denny's, or people are thinking that I'm like rambling through the trash to local Denny's. Well, that's not what's going on here.